Hello, my name is Magistra Costello, and Salve Discipulus or Salvetes Discipuli, which means hello, students. We are on Latina Christiana lesson 12 or XII. We're talking about the adjectives in the plural here in this lesson. Now, lesson 12, the Latin saying is novus ordo seclorum. Let's try that again. Novus ordo seclorum. Or you could say novus ordo seclorum, changing that V into a W sound in order to make it more classical. Novus ordo seclorum. I like changing the actual ancient Roman quotes into classical Latin because that is how they would be said. Seclorum is the last part of that. Now, this was written by Virgil, yes, in around 37 BC, right around the time of Julius Caesar, Caesar Augustus, all of these people happening. Virgil was writing this about the events that were happening at that time with Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus. Pax Romana came later on in as a saying after this, but novus ordo seclorum came first in Virgil. You could talk about Virgil and how he was an influential Roman poet, if you wish to. And then you can also talk about how Virgil was a poet and how poet was a male profession, and which is why poet is masculine in gender. If you talk about that enough, I think they will get it. Maybe. Now we have our vocabulary words. Our vocabulary words include more adjectives. We have eternus, eternal, everlasting, and the derivative is eternity. Now, if you want to, at this point in time, you can have them underline the stem of those vocabulary words so they understand that these have a vocabulary stem in Latin. We have certus or certus certus which means certain, sure, and it means certainly. I use that strong C because that's more classical, but it's certus in classical Latin or certus in ecclesiastical Latin. Then we have laetus which is happy, and there's not a lot of English derivatives with that word in it, so we don't have an English derivative for this lesson for that one. I like to use elated as a word to use, but I don't know if it's exactly an English derivative. We have lentus which is slow or sluggish, which is relent or relentless. We have novus which is new or novice would be your derivative here. Novus, once again, could be novus which would be the classical Latin. Proximus nearest, next, approximate. Sumus highest, greatest, summit. Cur would be your question word, your first one. Cur, why, quando, when, quis, who. I feel like they need more lessons on question words in this book and previous books because students are always asking me, what does this mean? And it's usually a question word. Cur is why, quando is when, and quis is who. Now, if you took Spanish, the quando is a very similar word to the word in Spanish, which is a C, I believe, quando. Excuse me. Now we have adjectives in the plural. Please point out here the adjective stem, which is bone, for the bonus we learned in the last lesson. But we have the plural of these adjectives, which is eorum, is, os, is, eorum, is, as, is, and eorum, is, a, is for your masculine, feminine, and neuter. This is all review, but have them go through the charts again. Go over the lesson you kind of went over last week, which is talking about how adjectives have to match. And if you did your review worksheets with that, those section C, I believe, from the last lesson, really hones in the matching of the vocabulary words with the adjectives. Now we're going to talk about section A on your exercises for lesson 12. We have antebellum, which is review, holy, 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 which is from last week, and excelsior, which is even higher, which is, ever higher, which is actually the state motto of one of our states, I believe. It's either, I think it's California. So a lot of these have American history involved in it. A lot of our founding fathers and the founders of the states who made up our state mottos have these Latin sayings as their quotes. So excelsior would be ever higher, I believe. I think, but it could be wrong for California. So your grammar section, section B, are 2 grammar questions. This adjective and the nouns they modify question is very important and needs to be memorized because you will be answering this question every year from now on. Gender, number, and case would be the answers for that. In Latin, adjectives can be written before or after the noun. This is a great way to explain that Latin word order does not matter, and you can find words any which way. Now, a lot of times you will find, especially the poets, being more poetical, which is moving words in a certain way, putting the words in a certain order so that it forms a pattern, which to them that made it more beautiful. C, translation, is a lot of linking verbs here. So you will have to remember to review your linking verbs. Soon, SS, soon as ST, sunt, and etc. Go over that again and even put it in, if you're reviewing your verbs, put it into like your flashcards again or your vocabulary sheets for the week. Now, this is a great time to review predicate adjective and predicate nominative when you have a linking verb. Adjective describes, and nominative is a noun, which is just like a noun, a boy, a common noun. So that would be a great time to segue into talking about that. Predicate adjectives and nominatives are something that you constantly talk about in Latin. I feel like I've been talking about them a lot. So moving on, we have our last part, which is derivatives. Now remember, these derivative questions usually have a clue in the sentence itself, but there's only 4 of them, so one of the words is going to be left out. But that is lesson 12 from Latina Christiana. I hope you enjoyed this and come back for next time. Thank you. Goodbye.